It's Wednesday night and you're bored as shit. You've got nothing better to do, and you love your rugby league. So it's time to get online for League of Inches.
I tell you what, one thing right now, guys. Sorry we're a little bit late. Talk of Para went overboard. Still a little bit of Para talk on this one as well. But on the weekend, I'm not going to get into Magic Round yet. We will get to that shortly. But me and Adam obviously met up with Mika. He did perform that song live, and it was a thing of beauty. If you haven't seen it already, go over to the page. You'll see it live. Mika smashing the drums all over the place. It was sensational to see. Your band is doing some great things, Mika. Straight to you. How's the gig? How's the gig afterwards as well? Because you went back-to-back gigs, which doesn't really happen in the rockstar world. I normally have a day's break, don't you? And you just didn't stop.
Yeah, we did Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night. So it was a big weekend. Saturday night, we did a festival up at Redcliffe. There's about 1,000 people there, I think. It was one of the best ones I've ever done. It was fantastic. So it was a cracking weekend, but one of the highlights was definitely the League of Inches song there.
It went off. It was worth the wait. I know things got a little bit delayed at the show, which you weren't too impressed with, but it was definitely worth the wait. Jez, going to you next, because you obviously weren't able to get up to Magic Round, unfortunately. I was very keen to spend the weekend with you watching some footy and having a few drinks at the Caxton, but wasn't to be. We'll try and work on it for next year. But how was it, the games you did get to watch? And pretty much probably seen Adam, how he has been the last couple of days. You're probably quietly to yourself going, I've played the right cards here.
Well, from the sound of my voice, it sounds like I actually went to Magic Round.
You went.
I know, right? Because I have lost my voice. And it's been, you know how fun it is to teach a class of 28 kids with no voice and doing non-verbals? It's really hard. But no, Magic Round, it seemed a lot of fun. All the stuff that you guys are getting up to, I am keen as a bean for next year. I've already spoken to my lovely wife and said, hey, we've got a plan for this. We've got to get up there.
Yep.
So she can just hang out in Brisbane with the kids and we'll go to the footy.
Well, I'm actually winning $150 million on Thursday night. So I'll be paying for it and we'll be going corporate. So, yeah, once that happens, it'll be great.
Just got to make sure Mick is playing up there again.
No,
yes, and you have to then come out with us.
My chest
Can
is
confirm
terrible.
we are doing that festival again that same night.
There you go.
That's right. Just go. We'll G up something. We'll G up something. Are you telling us to shush or what?
It's meant to be a
Oh, you
secret.
got something to say?
No.
Oh, sorry. I thought you had an announcement.
No,
Look
no.
out. Adam.
It was an exclusive, a League of Inches exclusive.
Oh,
Great,
there
guys.
you go.
I'm
Get
a
your
bit
tickets in early, guys.
I'm a bit sniffly. I haven't been hanging out with any Roosters players, guys. I'm just a bit crook. So I've got a sinus infection, a chest infection. I've got it all going on. I've been crook. I didn't get out of bed till about 11 o'clock today. It hasn't been good. So because, like, I just said that because they're obviously sick because they were sniffling so much, just having fun in the room. So, like, you know, you might have thought I was hanging around with them. They made me sick. So, but no, I'm all good. Honestly, this Magic Round's becoming too much. This is both this year and last year I've come home and I've been crook. So I don't know if it was the fact that Joel kept kissing me all the time or we're sharing too many red slushies or what, but something's made me crook. I might have been standing around the freezing fucking cold waiting for you to start your gig, actually.
Only one of us Martins is made for drinking for 4 days straight and not being a little whinger about it the next week.
Didn't you drive on Friday night, you pussy? Yeah.
Yeah, I still had
You
a couple
drive
of
on
beers.
Friday?
But I was hammered.
A couple of beers.
I was hammered
Fuck
the
off.
Thursday and the Saturday.
The $1,000 I spent proves how much alcohol I had. And I did not have a hangover once. I'm just fatigued.
Oh,
Lack
No,
of
but I
sleep.
can drink
Slushies did go
more
down.
beers than you. No, I can drink more beers than you.
What are you
my
talking about?
dad,
We're
your
drinking.
dad. Wait, hang on.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was slushies. That was slushies and vodkas. None of this beer drinking. Who drinks beer anymore? I don't like beer anymore.
It was good fun. I'll let you guys know now that we are planning some big things. Me and Adam already had some chats about next year, and we'll make sure we do it very, very well for the League of Inches community, and obviously the boys here at League of Inches. We're going to try and organise some really good stuff. So really, really keen already, even though it is a bit of it's hard to get back up after a weekend at Magic Round, but we still march on. Bit of footy to talk about, guys. But first of all, obviously, what caught our eye this weekend has been a big, big week. A lot has happened on and off the football field. If you're interested to know everyone's what caught their eye, because we've all had a very, very busy couple of days. Mika, let us know what caught your eye. I've got no doubt there's been a lot.
Yeah, for me, it was, again, music-based, but a little bit different. How important it is for all ages gigs to make a return. There's definitely not as many of them around now as when I grew up, but playing an all ages gig in a car park on Saturday morning, and then a festival where kids they're actually encouraged to come and run around and get involved, was just really, really good to see. And I think there should be more of that. So that was what I took out of my weekend.
Yeah, I'll say as well, normally, like, that's not my go-to music, but it was good. It was good stuff, Mika, and I was bopping the head. I was getting into it. I absolutely loved it. So you've got me hooked. I can't wait for the next one. So, Yes, I want to know what caught your eye with this voice and stuff. It sounds like you've had a massive, massive weekend.
Massive weekend. Mine's footy related in quite a magicless round. So all of our stars pretty much being out across all teams. There was only one blowout. So the footy that was produced was really competitive. And I know that honestly wasn't a dig at the Parramatta fans or you. It's just
That's
facts.
a very Adam Martin comment to make.
But all of the games were very close and competitive, even though all of the stars of the NRL were basically out and weren't there. So for what was a magicless round, it was pretty entertaining rugby league. Would have been cool to see it live.
It was actually very, very good. And credit to the young guys who did stand up. I'm talking about the Armstrongs, the Talungis, and the like, who really did step up and make it a very, very good spectacle there. Adam, we went through a lot.
We went through a lot, and this will come as no surprise what I'm going to say, but referee inconsistencies again. Look, when you sit there and you watch 8 games of rugby league, well, I watched 7 because I left after the Parramatta game. I couldn't do it anymore. But when you watch the majority of the games, you see the inconsistencies. Now, I'm just going to come out and say this straight away, that the Gold Coast Titans were robbed. I'm sorry, they were robbed. There was no way they could have, as the bunk would say, there was no way they had sufficient evidence to overturn the live decision of try. Yet somehow we sat there for 2 minutes and Joel's going, it's a try. I'm saying, well, the referee hasn't moved yet. It's not a try. This is us in smack being in the middle of the Knights Bay with our Titans flags. And we had fun in the first half. We had a great time in the first half. Thanks to the lovely young girl that handed us the Titans flags, and all we had to do was ask. And yeah, we turned around and like, look, I'm fine with that. Like, it was a shit decision. Everyone knows it was the wrong decision. Well, most people do. Half the Knights fans around us didn't. But you go to the Parramatta Melbourne game, Tui Kamika's first try, and you go to the Roosters game and Dom Young's try, were the exact same thing. The exact same situations, and they're both given tries and not even reviewed. Now, I've said this so many times, but as a fan, all you want is consistency. You want consistency about the games. Now, when you're watching all those games live and you can literally pinpoint them, one of them was the game after. So the NRL has egg on their face for turning around and costing a team a game, potentially costing a team a game, and then giving the Roosters a try that could have won them the game to Dom Young. You know, it just shows they didn't want it to be that decision because they didn't want it to be on the game, but they didn't care if it happened later on. A team had a chance to score. So it's just frustrating. And, you know, like, look, it was a pretty entertaining game besides that, but I thought a good game got ruined by a poor call.
Hey, before we move on, take your hating Newcastle glasses off for a second. Are you telling me there was not a bobble there at all? He had control the whole way down to the ground?
Well, I've seen it quite
just
a few
that
times.
Try, because I'm not saying the other ones weren't, like, I agree, the other ones were the same, so it should have been ruled the same. But go back
2
to
out of
that
3,
one, he's saying that
2 out of 3 have been given as tries. So you go with the majority, it means the other one has to be given a try.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked.
I would say there was definitely not enough evidence to overturn the decision. And that's the rule.
What camera angles were you watching, though? Because they showed one that was very clearly
I
The
would
ball-
not say clearly. Now you need to take your Knights glasses off.
I have. And I would be saying the same thing if it was against the Knights. You know this. But
There's 3 tries that were exactly the same. One of them wasn't given a try. Come on, Jez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that I just
Yeah,
think that they watched it. We don't know how long they watched it before we were there, but
Yeah.
just before they put the big screen. But there was just 2 minutes of awkwardness, and then there was a minute
Yeah,
of
it was.
watching it, and in that minute you couldn't, like, from the camera angles we
Felt
saw
like 5.
at the game. Yeah, it felt like fucking forever. You couldn't see that he clearly lost the ball, and the whole point of it is if you can't clearly see it, you can't just assume he did, and they made the assumption he did based off that.
And watching it live, like when he went over, everyone I was watching it by myself at home, but I went, that's a try. And I'd already moved on. So I was waiting for him to actually take the conversion. And then, hold on, we've gone back and we've had a look. And there was a slight bobble.
Yeah, but he also regathered the ball by the time it hit the ground. And, you know, you could say, you could make a claim that the Newcastle player was trying to strip the ball, for example, and he regained the ball.
Yep.
This, you know,
Totally.
if they're going to make assumptions, they could assume that. So, anyway, that's what caught my eye.
Wow. That was that was almost
put your
a
glasses
segment in a
back on now.
segment. That was Let's separate this.
Fuck the
what
Knights.
caught my eye, you know what?
Actually, sorry, can
first
we
of
go
all,
back?
that was actually very,
Yeah.
very.
Can I have one more just from Magic Round, please? So I just want to tell a little story that Joel will come in with. So there was a girl in front of us, decked out in her Knights gear, completely decked out, head to toe. Knights shoes, Knights shorts, Knights jersey, Knights hat. Now, she got lucky enough to get handed the Daniel Savidi bobblehead. You know how they hand out the heads they hand out the games? So I said to her, is that Daniel or Jacob? To which she rudely replied, it's clearly Daniel. So this girl, when she disappeared after the game, she left a bobblehead sitting there. So I was like, oh, I'm going to have some fun here. So I borrowed a black texter, crossed out Daniel and wrote Jacob Safidi because I just assumed they use the same photo of both of them when they print them out. They wouldn't actually know. They just put them down the bottom anyway. And poor Jacob never gets them anyway. She comes back. She was angry because I put Jacob there and said, it's clearly Daniel. How do you not know that? But we're just going to clarify that she come back in a Roosters jersey, Roosters shorts, Roosters shoes, and a Roosters members hat. And was blowing up at me for changing the name of one of the players. Honestly,
So it was Dom Young?
No. Yeah, apparently she come back because she supports Connor Watson now. But anyway, yeah, that was the story. It was an interesting
Her
moment.
Ponga.
That was
Yeah, comments are made about that all weekend. Don't worry. All right, Joel. Sorry, have your moment.
So for my caught your eye, one thing I'll quickly shout out. That was a heap of fun. Sitting in the Knights section, supporting. I'll use the Titans. I think honestly, the whole bay actually thought me and Adam were legit Gold Coast fans. It was hilarious because we literally did, like, at the end of the game, they're trying to give it to us, and we're like, okay, cool, like, well done. So it was really, really fun. It was actually good. Like, they were in good spirits. So credit to your Knights fans. It was good fun. What caught my eye, I want to actually, yeah, most of them were very, very good. What caught my eye this weekend is, I think it's time that I seen a lot of these stadium upgrades and developments and all these these center of excellence and stuff. We need to start investing in roofs over our better and bigger stadiums, in my opinion, because that way, whether it's rain, hail, or shine, if these big events are on, it doesn't get impacted. And I'm even talking about stuff like you see at Suncorp throughout the game, where you had to sit in at the start, the sun was blaring, it was hot as, and it actually did take away from it a little bit the day, where I just feel like if there's that roof on, everyone's in the same sort of vicinity, it's all sort of the shadows and that are there, and it's the same. I just feel like that's sort of somewhere we've got to get to. We see all the American stadiums, a lot of the big ones have that roof over that stadium now. I'd like to start seeing us get there with just at least one big stadium in each, sort of like the Brisbane, like Suncorp, maybe Allianz or something becomes one as well. Just a possible idea there.
Yeah, I had to sit in the sun and I'm still red.
I was about to say, is Adam sunburnt because there was no roof?
I'm the only person that gets sunburn in May. Can we clarify one more thing from Magic Round? And it's the player involvement. There were some great moments over the weekend of shouting out the players. I think the most fun we had, besides giving Nelson shit and shouting out to Max King, which I'll get to, was not Max King, sorry, Josh King, was sitting in that Knights bay after the Knights had played and all the Knights fans joining in. This every time a front rower took a run from the back fence. We had Oregon Kafusi. Literally, he was on the fence. He was leaning on the fence, ready to run off, just because he wanted to get involved with the crowd. And we had some good comments and tell him to take it up. It was fantastic. And like, shout out to Josh King. Become a big fan of my first ever Melbourne player I'm a fan of, because I shouted out to him, Josh, was the best thing you ever did leave Newcastle? And he laughed. I said, just give us a thumbs up. And he gave us a thumbs up. So that was absolutely fantastic. Shout out to Josh King.
You two can just chill out now. We're not having this podcast derailed by these little subtle digs the whole time. So let's move on. There is going to be a
Adam,
shout out to
you
the
just
Sharks.
need to change your
will
name
come.
to the Knights. Like, honestly. It's just your name.
Yes, there is a quick question.
Yeah.
Your dad, while Magic Round was on, was he at McDonald Jones still? There is question marks out there about where your dad actually has been.
No,
Can we
still
cross
there.
back to the
Still holding
satellite and have a look?
We might tap into the satellite later and see if he's still under that light post. No, he was there. Came back early from his cruise just to sit under his spot, and then realized it was Magic Round, so watched it on his phone. God bless him.
And even he could see, even he could see on his small phone it was a try.
I'm human, guys. We do exist. So it was great to meet a few of you
Back on your
people
roof
out there
thing.
on the weekend.
I think that's a great idea. There are a lot of stadiums now that are adopting the shade sail, and it's retractable. So you still can get that natural light in there to help with the grass, though most of the pitches are drop-in pitches anyway. Over in America and whatnot, they take them out from the stadium. But you can get the sails that actually go up into a circular thing. Then when you need them, they expand back out. It takes about an hour or so, but that could be something that could be looked at in terms of upgrading just our big stadiums. But I agree. The surface at Suncorp did hold up, but it looked really shanky on TV, and you could tell in between games they were either throwing green sand down or something just to fill in the potholes, because by the end of the round, it was pretty much it looked like green sand.
Yeah, it was looking like the ground on that Sunday was just holding up. I was getting very worried about the players and seeing a big injury happen. Guys, we have spoken about this a lot, obviously, on the Talking Para podcast, but there's a couple of fans here, or Mika, and then Jez probably wants to kick the boot in once again to the club. But Parramatta, it's obviously been huge news. There's obviously some people out there that don't get to tune into the Talking Para one, so we will address it here for a couple of minutes as well. Brad Arthur's been sacked, gone. We'll see if people agree with that decision or not. And I also want to know who your ideal candidate is to take over the Eagles job as head coach moving forward. Mika, I know you're a passionate Parramatta man. You've been fed up for quite some time with what you've been seeing on and off the field. Here's your chance to go. I'll let you take off.
I think he had to go. I think he's done a great job when he was there. I was never a BA out person. I just think his time was up. His message had gone stale, and there are a few things with his coaching game that he had never evolved or developed. But I don't think that's the end. I think they need to still get rid of the people above him that also need to share the responsibility. People like Mark O'Neill. I think it was probably, I understand why they went for Bennett secretly. Obviously, they thought they could pull it off, and they didn't, which, again, I hope Parramatta fans don't look at that press conference that they did as a, hey, we tried to get Wayne Bennett. Isn't that what you wanted? Like, don't you still love us? And instead look at it as they tried to get Wayne Bennett and they failed. They failed at something again. And then they made it worse by then still sacking the coach mid-year without a plan in place. Now, in saying that, I think it is a good change. I think a couple of players will need to be cleaned out as well. The ones that aren't putting the effort in, like Sivos and Lanes and Lussick's. I think if they don't get the right coach, though, it'll all be for nothing. So I'm assuming I can answer who I think should be coach as part of this, Joel.
Yeah.
I think it's either got to be Riles or Billy Slater. Now, I know they're both rookie NRL's coaches. I think Riles has been probably the next coach in waiting for a long time. And I know Slater is still pretty fresh, but he's done a couple. How many origins has he done? 2?
Oh, no, that peeked through his window. I think he's done two years, maybe
2
three.
years, yeah.
Series. He's
So
a banana farmer as well, not an orange farmer.
Yeah, I fucking banana benders.
Because remember, it only
I-
took him 2 to get rid of Fittler.
Yeah, that's right. And then I just think the way he speaks as a coach around Origin time is like nearly second to none. The way he speaks is phenomenal. And I know he spent, when he was out with his shoulder reconstruction, he spent a lot of time working with Bellamy and sort of coaching stuff. So I know that's where his heart lies. I think he will make a great club coach. I didn't think it'd be this soon. I thought he was still hung on to Queensland a bit longer. But for me, that's my options: Riles or Slater. Let's just hope the club can get it right this time and get one of them. Otherwise, we'll probably end up with Demetrio or something stupid like that.
Adam, I'm going to go to Jez after this because I want to let the Para fans go first and have someone without the emotion come and say the final word, which would be good. You've had your say, obviously, on multiple platforms by now. If you haven't already and you're a Para fan, even if you're not, just go ahead, give Talk Para a bit of a follow, some love as well. That's pretty much myself, Adam, and a few of the other boys in there also. What are your thoughts around it? It was BA's time to go. Was it handled well? And then obviously who you think should be appointed as the next coach?
I don't know what you're talking about. I have made no comments. I have made no comments about the Parramatta Eels, and I will not make any comments about the Parramatta Eels. I love this club. Go Para. No, but really, yeah, look, I think more changes need to happen, as Michael's touched on. I think there's bigger problems there. But as I said on Talking Para, everyone's always going to do what they can do to protect their own job. And these board members, these CEOs, these general managers or whatever they are, they're going to do what they can to protect themselves. So they had to make the call to get rid of Brad. I thought it was disappointing they made the call 3 weeks ago and strung Brad along a bit. I've been told it's because the club has a history of leaks and they want to get a plan in place. And they still couldn't get the plan in place, obviously, in that time. And I guess after the weekend's loss, they kind of felt like they had to pull the trigger then and there because things weren't getting better. Looked like he'd lost the playing group, which is a pretty common thing for people to say. But I guess the way someone were playing, I think Brad might have known his time was up as well. So, yeah, look, it's disappointing the way it happened. I think he should have been treated with a bit more respect. I don't think this season's really that savable unless we can somehow get an upset win and Mitch Moses can just turn into Jared Hayne or Ben Barber or someone. But, yeah, look, who I would have from the coach, I'm hearing Jason Riles is leading the race, just with the fact that he's obviously been rumoured for so long to be that next coach they do want to appoint to an NRL club. He's obviously knocked back a couple of clubs, but I'd love Slater as well. I never thought I'd find myself saying that, but the way the Queensland players have come out and spoken about him, the respect they have for him, and to bring a modern approach to the game. He's retired, obviously, after the game had changed so much, and I think he could take Parramatta to the promised land. The promised land.
I think a lot of people in the comments with the general consensus that he won't go anywhere but Melbourne or this or that. Like, it's come out at a few sources today that he has actually applied for that job at Parramatta. He has put his hand up with the other coaches and said, yes, I am interested in this.
I'll tell you this now.
That's half the battle, right? That's half the battle.
I'll say straight up, whatever you can throw up in the comments and everything that's been rumoured around, without being crazy about it, obviously. We know Jared Hayne's not coming out of jail to coach Parramatta, so no one do it. But someone could. So if I said, well, you can put in the comments, but every single player that has been rumoured, ex-player, ex-coach, whatever, has applied for that Parramatta job. It shows how big the club's pull power still is, that people want this job. They see a team that pretty much, most of them went to a 2022 grand final. Obviously, the junior development's majorly improved. There's got to find a way to bring those players through. With Brad Gawn and the relationship he had with Isaac Mose, I think a lot of that will improve. And, SG Ball and Harold Matt's won comps and continue to be strong this year. And I think people realise that with obviously that development and the training facilities, the members, the money the club has got. If a coach gets in with a plan and the club supports that, Parramatta can be a powerhouse again.
Jez, come in. You've got no emotion behind this. If anything, you're probably happy to kick the boot in even further. So you're probably going to be even more brutally honest. What are your thoughts around this? Was it time for Brad to go? Does it look like from your perspective it was handled well? I know your coach was almost Gornsky a bit later than this time last year, saved his job being extended. And then who you think would be a good coach for Parramatta who would probably scare the shit out of you moving forward?
Can you say Kalen Ponga saved his job?
He
Kalen,
did.
can you go back and ask that question?
But it shows what winning does. And when you're losing consistently and not changing anything or trying to attempt to change anything, then that's when the writing's on the wall. And we predicted this. We've predicted this for quite some time now. I think both the boys summed it up quite well, and there are points in that I absolutely agree with. I don't like probably the way that it was handled in terms of that he was told, 3 weeks ago, and then kind of strung along just so they could get their ducks aligned for them to announce it. I think he probably deserved a little bit more than that, considering he was there for 12, 11 years. Had a little bit of success, but has definitely grown stale. So it was time to move on. Just looking at the guys that are left, and we spoke about this, you remove your coach because you want to replace them with a better coach. And I think it was Michael that said that. But when you have a look at the clientele that is left, they're either untested or failed. That's the coaches who are left. So it's a gamble either way for Parramatta who's coming in next. I would love to see Billy Slater coach an NRL side. Wouldn't bother me that it was Parramatta. You need your foot in the door somehow. But if he can go there and if he can do wonderful things with the setup that is there, and as Adam said, all of the facilities are there, the juniors are there, the money is there, the members are there, the club is there, you have a really solid foundation to build something quite special if you can put your thumbprint on it. One smoky that I will kind of say, I like Riles, but I think he's probably holding out for that Melbourne job. Blake Green. Blake Green is a very well-respected player, has been in the coaching traps behind many other coaches. He's currently at the Knights at the moment, but he could be also one that if, because the boys obviously want Billy Slater, he could be one that could kind of step up there as well. So that's my thoughts on it. You don't really like seeing a club go through turmoil. You don't like seeing someone get their job taken off them. But I think for Parramatta members and fans, things could be looking up quite soon. You could probably write this year off, though. But
Green's a Parramatta
invest in
junior
young
too.
fellas and enjoy some footy finally.
Just on that one, Blake Green is a Parramatta junior, so fair shout.
Yeah.
I guess the fans have been kind of crying for someone that cares about the club, so in a way that could work as well. What are you downing, Michael?
I want to quickly.
I was pointing to that question. I've had this raised 1 million times on Facebook today. This probably should have been my football related. What did you notice of the week? The amount of people that don't know how contracts work in the NRL still. I know we joke about like a contract means nothing. For a player to get out of a contract, they have to approach the club, and even if it's on compassionate grounds, the club still has to grant it. So if they don't grant it, the player can't leave, like Ben Hunt or Jamie Lyon many, many, many years ago when he had to go play in the bush for 18 months before he could play anywhere else. And I had so many people going, but what about DCE's backflip? That was old rules. Daly Cherry Evans had until round 13 to backflip, and he did. What about Fafita? Fafita had 10 days to backflip, and he did. What about Sonny Bill? Sonny Bill left and walked out of his contract and got no payout and went and played rugby union in another fucking country, all right? The contract will stand unless Parramatta decides they want to release him. He's going to St. George. And even before the 10-day cooling off period...
He's going to St. George?
He's going to Parramatta. The only way he could have backflipped was if he went back to St. George and they would have had to pay him $800,000, which they were never going to do. So he was always coming to Parramatta, and he can't get out of it unless they choose to release him. End of story.
Just on the Blaze one too, there's more chance of Blaze staying at Parramatta now with Brad gone, due to being managed by Isaac Moses and Brad having a toxic relationship. So if anything, the new coach, which hopefully will be announced soon, if it is someone like Billy Slater, he's obviously going to see what talent this young fullback has, then he'll be getting him wrapped up as soon as he can.
That gets me excited. Billy Slater coaching Blaze for the next few years. I also want to quickly address rugby league history in this comment. Would the fans at Parramatta accept Slater, though, considering his previous history with the club? Obviously, his previous issue is basically Parramatta fans have hated him in his playing days. He first of all tormented us each and every time we versed him. he was a bit of a grub to Hayne, egged him on, got under his skin.
Not just
probably
Parramatta
fair way.
fans.
Yes, most fans.
New
If
South
you're not a
Wales fans.
Queensland or a Melbourne fan, you basically hate him. So, but he has since, for mine, become one of the best rugby league analysts of that we've got in our game. Clearly knows his stuff. He's doing wonders with Queensland. I think the opportunities it would open up to the club to sign some of these top echelon of talent would be enormous. And I actually think what it says to me, having someone like Billy Slater throw his hat in the ring so publicly now, when every other time, even when the Melbourne Storm job was up, he literally straight away came out and said, no, I don't want it, suggests to me, and it should encourage Parramatta fans to realise we're sitting on a gold mine at this club. This club is enormous. This club has huge potential. And we've got someone who can see that, who is a huge rugby league personnel, and I believe can actually take the club to that level that it needs to get. We're all over the incredibly long wait to get to this premiership. And I actually believe, even though he's untried at NRL level, he will. He is the type of person who can get us there. So he's come out publicly. Apparently, I still haven't read it or heard it, but it's a lot of people have confirmed it now, so I'll believe it. If he's coming out and saying it in Parramatta, just get it done.
As long as he apologises for stripping the ball off Fui in the last 4 minutes of the grand final in 09 and getting away with it. He says sorry for that.
It'll be in his opening monologue. I think this could open up the new era of coaches as well. Billy Slater at Parramatta, Benji Marshall at the Tigers. This is exciting times for the NRL, surely.
I agree. We could talk about this all night, but we've got to move on. We're not a Parramatta podcast, unfortunately. We've already got one of those that are doing great stuff. So let's talk some Origin. We do have it in our headline. There's a lot of people tuning in for the Origin talks. Let's get into it. First of all, I want to talk about Joseph.
Can we do over-unders too? Because I've got 4% battery left. That's all.
Okay, go to over. Let's go start with that then. Go.
This was huge last week, and I haven't got the results, but I'll tell you this much. We did get 5 sin bins in the first 3 games, and me and Joel, we were counting them out every single game. Look, we're almost, I don't know how many sin bins we end up with. We end up with well over.
People thought we were crazy.
Yeah, people thought we actually had a bet on it. I was like, it's just for the podcast. We're excited. So I set these. So it means if they go over, that means that's how many I thought it was. I'm always going overs. All right. I'll start with Joel. 40 tries over under.
This weekend. I'll go under. I think there's a bit of a post Magic Round blues and getting ready.
Over last week. Yep. Under. All right. Michael. Went well and truly over last week. 5 sin bins.
Under.
Under this? He's going unders. All right. Join in the comments, guys, as you say. Now, Jeremy, I had to go start with Joel because this one's it's special for you is the word I'm after. Can't fucking talk, but I'll try. 80% conversion rate on goal kicks. Obviously, conversions over under.
Some shockers this Magic Round, so I'm going to go under.
Under. All right.
The
Back
form
to you,
continues.
Joel. 15 HIAs.
Under.
Yeah, we were under last week, so that's good. Michael, 3 potential Origin players injured. Over, under.
Under.
Obviously not trying to injure more players, but it's been a common theme lately. Jeremy, 8 successful captain's challenges.
Under. They're shocking at him.
Well, the referees are shocking at making calls, as we saw as well, so it could come back. All right.
No try.
Over under, relevant for you, Joel. 15,000 people at South's Para game. Over under. Big powerhouse. Sydney clubs in poor form.
It's at ANZ, isn't it?
At ANZ.
Saturday night. Cold.
It's fucking
miserable.
freezing down here,
I'll go
Joel. It's
under.
fucking freezing, mate.
Under. You can't be that stupid to get out there and spot those 2 teams.
Yeah, well, I'm going the game. So, anyway.
Oh, you are stupid.
You're so stupid.
Yeah. Michael, 10 failed short dropouts.
Over.
Over? Yeah, I knew you'd like that one. All right, Jeremy. The total weekend attendance, over 130,000. Now, Joel got this wrong last week. was set at 150,000. It was 149,000. He missed out
Nah.
just.
I'm going to go under because people have hangovers from Magic Round and we have the bye.
All right. This is the final one for one
Done?
person. No, there's two
Okay.
more because the last one you've all got to answer. Joel, 50 penalties. Not 6 against, trade out penalties.
Over. They'll be whistle happy.
All right.
Over.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this one to all of yous. All right. You going under? All right. So I've got 5 Indigenous players, 5 Indigenous try scorers, obviously being Indigenous round. I want to over under. And I want which Indigenous player do you reckon will score the most tries this weekend? All right, I'll go to you first, Joel.
Over on the Indigenous players scoring. And I hate to say it, it's the week before Origin gets called and he's starting to get talked about a bit with the injuries, and it's against Parramatta. Latrell Mitchell will put on an absolute clinic and will probably score 4. I'll
He'll
even
get
give you the
5 on
number.
his
He'll
own.
score 4.
He'll get 5 on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was going there as well. Jeremy, I'll kind of give Michael some time to think. You can't say obviously Latrell now. Over under on the 5 Indigenous play scoring tries. And who'll
I'll
score
go
the most?
over. And I'm going to go Selwyn Cobbo.
Yep, Michael.
Over Cody Walker.
I can't believe he's left Alex Johnson out. I'm going over and Alex Johnson.
Joel's dad didn't. He was right on it.
Yeah, Alex Johnson's a specialty
Yeah,
against
the old
Parramatta
mate.
on that wing. 100%. All right, that's it. Over under for another week. Done.
Well done,
I'll
Adam.
try
You're,
that phone.
you're killing this
Done.
segment.
I'll try and mark him this week because I just obviously haven't given a fuck about footy after Sunday. To be honest,
I was going to say, I actually think I got the crowd one right. I actually think I went under.
No, you didn't.
Because I
You went
averaged it
over.
out.
You went over.
I didn't?
No, you went
Oh,
over.
Okay.
No.
Have a go,
Fuck off,
dogs,
Joe.
or whatever. All right, New South Wales. There is a lot of injuries to the back line, which has meant Joseph Suaalii is getting talked about a lot. It's seeming more and more likely that he is going to get a wing spot for the New South Wales Blues. What are our thoughts around this? Do we think he deserves to be in the frame for this, considering he is going to rugby union at the end of the season? Should it be for a player who's going to be there longer, or should the Blues be just thinking short term? We've got to get the series because we haven't won the last 2, and just name him if he's one of the best wingers that are available. Jez, I'll throw to you.
I've always been under the idea that you pick your best players. So he's in some pretty good form. He is a pretty bloody good player. Doesn't matter that he's going to rugby next season. Couldn't care about that. We'll see him when he comes back. So I'm all for it, actually. I'd love to see him in the Origin Arena and see how he goes.
Adam, what do you got for us?
Well, just want to first of all touch on say you may as well pick him because we'll be back in 2 years anyway because rugby union's a shit sport. But yeah, you got to pick him. You got to
He's
pick
already
the best
talked
player.
about
but-
want the deal to happen.
Yeah, in classic New South Wales style, he's a good winger, so we'll pick him at 17 and play him off there. But like they're running out of players injuries wise. I think he's got to be there.
Who else is on the list?
Ado Carr, Zach Lomax, Brian Toto.
Yeah, but we've got to try and fit them
Toto's
more into
probably got
centres
one,
and wings.
right?
Yeah.
Tahoe one winger.
Yeah,
Latrell
Toto's
Mitchell
one.
claims to
Toto's a
go one.
lock.
You got Stephen Crichton. Now Bradman Best is injured as well. I'm picking.
Crichton's on it.
I'll say, no.
Toto's
Here's
your
my
five.
back.
Easy.
Yeah.
Here's my back 5.
Well, I haven't got to
Tedesco?
answer the question yet, motherfucker.
Shut up, Teddy. Tedesco, Tahoe, and then you'll have Stephen Crichton, Tahoe,
Lake, the whole lake.
Tahoe, Stephen Crichton, and then Lomax Solihi.
Right.
Thanks. Who was your fullback? Edwards? Tedesco.
No, they're gonna pick Teddy no matter what. I
It'll
think,
be Teddy.
Let's go be there
Teddy till he dies.
which could be
Um,
soon. And a head knocks he's had. Let's be honest, he's not far away from retirement.
If we're talking Swatali'i for a winger position only, I'd
Nailed
say
it.
no. Not because I don't care that he's going to union or anything like that. I just don't think he's really lived up to his hype. I think Lomax has been playing better than him this year anyway, and Toto gets the other wing. I don't know.
I think before Bradman Best's
Who-
injury, I actually think Lomax would have been the wing, but now he's injured. I think Lomax will be forced to be pushed to the centre,
Sinners.
and
then
that
he'll be
makes
sad.
Suoliti.
He
Yeah.
wants to play in the centre.
No, he wants to be a centre.
Oh no, he does. He'll be happy.
He does.
He'll be
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
Get him.
I don't know. I just-
Hey.
We'll
There's-
see him
there's a lot-
smile for the first time this year.
There's a lot of talk about Joseph. There was a massive amount of talk for him when he come through, and I just at this stage, I'm not saying he won't get there or that he hasn't done great things as well. I still don't think he's lived up to how much they've spoken about him.
Is he like 21? He's still 21.
Yeah, he's very
Yeah.
young still.
I just said that. I'm not saying he won't get there, but he ain't got there yet.
I think after 2 years
Yeah,
at
look,
rugby,
he's no Darren Albert, that's for sure.
after 2 years at rugby, he'll want to come back and he'll want to touch the ball more. That's when he'll go to another level.
Yeah, I don't care. Good on him. Go get the money, mate. The cost of living's higher. I'd be telling my kids to do the same thing.
I reckon basically because of the injuries that has happened, and we're down to it's not a pretty picture when you look at things. And if one of these players get injured on the weekend, I don't want to see what happens and who gets named. It's very, very scary. But I think a few of the injuries have forced the hand here, and I think he can do a job on the wing. I would be selecting him purely off that fact that he would, if everyone's fit, he wouldn't be my choice. But the fact that not everyone is fit, that has changed things. We've got to look at things realistically. And I understand what Mickey is saying, but I also think he has actually picked it up the last few weeks with the Roosters also in some good form. I think Dom Young's with his try scoring feats have overshadowed him, and they keep going over to Dom Young's side. But anytime they go to Suoliti, the other thing is having him and Lomax on the one side, the aerial threat's ridiculous. Like that's crazy. So the crossfield kicks for either of those players is going to be something that the Blues could really look at exploiting on Queensland. A quick one off the cuff that has come through, and credit to Chris for asking this. So I actually know you're 5'8" as well, because there is a bit of talk about this. Hines for mine's the lock for the 7. He will get the halfback jersey. So who's going to partner with him? I think the options are Burton, Cody Walker, and Jerome Lua. I think that's the 3. Where are we at with this, Mickey? Like you're about to jump down the mic, so you take off.
I was just jumping down the mic at the bloke that suggested Staggs as centre. I like Staggs. I'd also have Burton at centre.
He's
before I had
injured.
Sawali.
Staggs is injured. He's
Is
out
he?
for 3-4 weeks with a
Right.
broken
Well,
ribs.
I'd have Burton at centre before I had Sawali in there anyway. But I guess if you have Burton at centre, that doesn't leave many 5'8" options.
Let's
don't
stop
really like
fucking
Luai.
picking players out of position. This is New South Wales' problems. The idiots like you
Yeah,
throwing suggestions.
That's the
down like
problem,
that.
but Burton at 5'8" is Burton out of position because he's not a fucking 5'8".
He's actually playing good football at 5'8" for the first time this year. In that
I know he's not.
team.
Because he
He is
puts the
so-
ball up in the air 3 times a game. Come on, please.
You say
you
Swallow
gotta
here
do more
for us
than
one
that,
more
Origin.
time. Where would you have
Hey?
Swallow here at centre?
Swatali. It's like
Nailed
when
it.
you say Limmy, Isaac, Limmy.
Forgot about that
I
guy.
don't like Luai.
Brad, take you.
Walker hasn't been in form. I don't know who they pick at 6. Look, to be honest, probably Jack Whiten. You say catch the ball and run, Jack. Don't
He's an
kick,
Origin
just
player.
run. Just run the fucking ball. Don't kick the ball.
He
just
retired. He's done.
You
doesn't
can't
wanna come
retire,
back.
but haven't you seen that shit? You don't
He
get
has.
choice. to
He has
retire.
retired. Now you can literally retire as long as you don't come back to it. You can say you've announced your
You can
retirement.
retire from rep footy.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think it was a thing. I thought there was an article about that the other day.
It depends if they want you to retire or
No,
not.
Exactly.
They don't want
players
you.
can't choose. Players can't choose to say, "Oh, I'm carrying like a niggle. I don't want to play." If they like for Moses, for example, if he didn't want to get selected this year or something, he had to retire from rep football. You can't just pick and choose when
Yeah, right.
you want to play rep footy or not. So Jack Whiten
Okay,
for
mate.
mine, he didn't want to be part of things last year when we probably needed him as well. And for me, that's worse than Suoliti going to rugby. If you don't want to be part of the state when we need you the most, don't come back now and try and get back and let these
So he's
young
got
guys
no heart
take
either.
off.
Righto.
He's got-
Well,
uh,
I don't know. Leave it blank. Just play 2 7s instead. I've got no one. Jerome Luai
there's
doesn't
not
deserve
enough
to be there.
sevens either. All the sevens
No.
are injured. Adam,
I don't know.
are you on the Burton
that was-
bandwagon?
No, that was informative, Michael. Fucking congratulations.
Yeah.
New South Wales selectors will be watching this. I No, I'm going to surprise you I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to say, like, first of all, I just want to touch on the 7 and say that I think New South Wales lose this series, and I just hope it doesn't affect Nico's Origin career because he deserves to be there. He deserves his spot, but he deserves a bit more around him. I'm thinking Luai because I actually think he's been playing quite well for Penrith without Cleary there. He's taken a bit of control. Got us up a leg in our multi on the weekend with an excellent try. So we actually liked him for once and then hated him for the rest of it. But I just think he's got the experience of being there. And although he hasn't always performed the best, bringing someone in like Nico who's had limited Origin time and it didn't end very well, I think they need a stable 5'8" that's been there before. The fact he's going to have, once again, Brian Toho, Stephen Crichton, potentially Burton at 14, and Isaiah Yeo and Liam Martin maybe there. He'll have a lot of Penrith players around him, and I guess that will help out as well.
Yeah,
There's
but
no one
Queensland
else.
They just eat that Penrith style of play up. They just jam Yo and it's done.
Yeah, they've got to fuck that. They can't.
Was when they-
Yeah, Madge won't allow that, though. That was Fitler. Madge
So
allowed
what
Yo to
about-
play the Penrith style.
What about Keary?
No.
Roosters are going.
You can't
good.
have it. Yeah, but you can't have him in an Origin game. It could go down in the first 30 seconds. It's too much of a
true.
risk.
I feel like
The
we're
bloke's
forgetting
literally-
someone.
No, we're not. There's just no one left.
Mm. Are you just
Right.
trying to make up for that
Eds-
time you abused Luai's mum at Penrith?
Who?
Are you just trying to make
No.
up for that time you abused Luai's mum and their family at Penrith?
No, fuck him. I'll take them all. He's a dog. But I don't really care. I don't like the bloke, but I
Cheers.
think he should
Say
be there.
something.
We are live in the Penrith group tonight,
Can't
by the
be.
way, guys. Shout out.
I don't have to say anything. I just let these guys do it themselves. It's great. We spoke about this last week. I had Teddy, Luai, and Nico as my spine.
He has been playing better. I'll give him.
Luai he hasn't done anything wrong. He was injured. That's why he got dropped last series. He's been playing well for Penrith without Cleary. And there's enough of the Penrith players in there for him to feel supported and like he could run the team. So I'm excited for Nico. I agree with Adam. I don't see us winning the series, unfortunately, but I don't want that to be the nail in Nico's coffin. I think he has a fantastic Origin future ahead of him when he's playing well. But Jerome Luai is my 6.
I agree. I would love to see Moses and Hines together at some point. Hopefully, at the back end of this series or something. I think that would be fantastic. But
Well,
for now, I'll lock in
Nathan's going to-
Burton and
Nathan's going to England anyway, so you probably get to see that next year.
He can still come back and play for New South Wales.
You can, but if
He's
she lets him, that is. She might let him. Mary might say, no, you're not going back.
It's only 3 games. Surely she'll let him.
see what
Anyway,
happens.
continue,
I'm in the
Charles.
Burton and Hines camp. Let's switch over to the state we don't give a shit about at this time of year. Queensland.
You say
And
Burton?
this right on cue. Right. Yeah, I'm going Burton 5'8".
Oh.
Burton and Hines. So
That'd be me too.
I actually do. But I actually agree with what
Hang
Adam-
on.
I actually think he's playing.
Well, stop. You just said that Burton's not a 5'8". Now you're picking him at
He's
5'8"
not.
for the state.
He's not, but I just think he'll play better in Origin than Luai.
Because he's a
would.
New South Wales
Luai has-
selector. It's what they do, Adam. We've highlighted this.
Because Luai
Burton
hasn't
at-
done it.
Burton
I'd have
fullback.
Burton at 5'8".
I'd have Burton at hooker.
Nah, come on. I just
No,
think
this-
Luai
this
at
is-
Origin.
This isn't the Gold Coast Titans, mate. Come on. You can't pick all your hookers in the halves.
Shut up.
Come
Shut
on.
up. Shut
Can
up.
Verrills play?
I think Luai has definitely been playing better this year. I'll give you that. But at Origin, I don't agree with what Jeremy said. He was dropped because he was injured. He was dropped because he was poor at Origin. I would have Burton's at least always performed at Origin. I'd have Burton there over Luai. Now let's move on.
Paul Brooks.
He's
Paul Brooks
performing
didn't
for
even get a
Let's
mention.
move on.
Let's move on.
Let's move
Let's
on.
move on. Queensland. Perfect timing. Must have seen our rundown. Who is our Queensland number 6 now that Cameron Munster is gone for not just the game, but almost the season it's looking like. So not looking good for Cameron Munster. Live at the game initially, I apologise because I thought he was just doing a gamesmanship and wasting some time close to half time. But he obviously got very, very severely injured. So shout out to you,
You're too
Cam
busy.
Munster. Hope you recover
it
well.
happened in front of us. You're too busy slurping. When you slurp, you didn't actually hear him scream. He actually screamed
Yeah.
in front of us. It's bad. And Joel's going, get up.
It
I'm like,
wasn't.
shut up, Joel.
I thought it was just wasting time, but it's sorry, Monster.
Jog it off.
Who's our
Jog it
sixth?
off.
Who's our sixth? It's basically for me between Ezra Mam or Tommy Dearden. For me, I'm going to go Tommy Dearden. Been there, done it before. So I think he's the safe option there for Queensland. Adam, I'll go to you. I'll go clockwise this time. Adam, Ezra Mam, Tommy Dearden, or do you have some crazy left field option for us?
Hang on. Gold Coast Titans team. No, I don't. It's between those two. I think Dearden gets the nod. He's been there before. And I guess the thing for Queensland is we know they're going to pick Harry Grant and Ben Hunt because they're 9 and 14, so they can't really afford to carry either on the bench. So I think they'll get Ezra because Queensland get Origin. They'll get Ezra around that 18th, 19th man, and he'll get that experience of being around Origin. And if something was to happen with Tom across the Origin series, I reckon he'd be the best person. And look, Dearden's practically, I know the Cowboys aren't going that great, but he's doing a lot of it on his own back. Like watching the game on the weekend, I thought he was excellent once again. So he deserves to wear that 6 jersey, and I think probably next year he'll step into the 7 jersey anyway there, because I think this is DC's last Origin series. So Dearden goes to 7, and then, Munster is getting on as well. Eventually they'll have Dearden, Ezra, and Walsh at fullback. So not a bad problem to have, is it?
Not at all. Jez, who you got?
I think we're just forgetting that it's really disappointing that Tyson Gamble's injured, because I think this was his time.
There's no reserve grade new state of origin,
Yes. Yeah, fair. Well, in that case, it'll have to be Dearden because he's been there, done it before, and he is playing good footy in a pretty rubbish team at the moment. So Dearden, and then I agree with Adam. I think Mam will be in and amongst it, getting his experience, and he will be in a Queensland jersey pretty soon. But it's Dearden for me.
Mika, who you got?
Yeah, I think they'll pick Dearden, but I'd really like to see Ezra there. I'm a huge Ezra Mam fan. I think he's been doing a good job while Reynolds has been injured, but I just think they'll pick Dearden. As you said, he's been full of effort, even though the Cowboys have been up and down. He's been there before. I will point out in the comments, though, they're talking about Sam Walker. Surely he's in the picture for the future.
Well, I was going to fire back at Adam here because this is Andrew Backhouse just standing over the top of you, yelling
in
abuse
your
to you,
face,
pointing down at you.
Teabagging
Sam Walker. What's your response?
Yeah.
What's your response?
The bloke hasn't even proven he can run a team yet. Like him and his halves partner at the Roosters haven't even been able to get their shit together. So
Are you talking about Backhouse or Walker here?
Oh, Backhouse, that's for sure. Backhouse can eat a team, not run a team. And
whoa! That's nah.
No. Anyway, he wants to make comments. He makes them too. Anyway, Walker, yeah. I think his time will come after Peary retires because that's when he stands up for the Roosters and when he starts to earn his name in that thing. The only reason he earns his name in an Origin room at the moment is because of what his father's done. So, yeah, he's not ready yet. Sorry, but the other two have proven they've got the ability to be there. Can we talk about Queensland centres quickly? Because their centres are interesting too. Like, they've got Valentine Holmes. They've got Cobbo obviously playing in the centres as well. They've got Dane Gagai in probably almost career best form. They've got the Hammer. Like, I don't know how they're going to fit them all in either. Like, I'm just looking ahead, and Parramatta play Newcastle when it's Origin affected. So I'm trying to fit as many Newcastle players into these teams as I can.
Well, Cobbo's going to be one centre, surely, isn't he? Sorry, not Cobbo, the Hammer.
Yeah.
Hammer will be a centre?
We played there last year.
If we're being fair income, Val Holmes has been horrible this year.
He has. That's what I mean.
I don't think
he's in
that form. But the thing is, him in a Queensland jersey is just the Incredible Hulk, and I reckon they'll name him, and he'll tear us apart.
So you're saying
I think
Hammer and
Holmes? I think Hammer and Holmes, but I actually do agree. I had Dane Gagai in my team for a couple of weeks there with the rolling.
Sounds like a hardware store.
Hammer and Holmes.
Emma Holmes and a gay guy.
And I think Cobbo gets a wing spot with Xavier Coates on the other wing as well. So That's a pretty potent backline with.
Can we get
Reece
shirts
Walsh.
made up? That's got to be a
That's it.
t-shirt. Let's put that on a
And the
shirt.
Holmes and the gay guy.
That's
I'm sold.
it's a hardware store especially for homosexuals. It's great.
Look at that's your new band merch right there. That's your next run.
All right. Let's look into that. Don't mind it at all. So
I do like that back line you just named. Holmes' form's been very up and down.
I think Gagai deserves the respect to go out in
Yeah,
Queensland.
yeah.
Jersey, though. Really, and Queensland are
Playing
about
good footy.
respect and loyalty. He's playing great footy. In a pretty average team. He's been, even when they were struggling to win games, he was standing up every week, I thought. And
Yeah.
I guess the thing is, him and Holmes are probably too much the same player. If they're picking it on form, they pick
I'd pick gay guy.
they pick Gagai and they pick Hemmer. If they're picking it on the future, they probably pick the Hemmer and Valentine Holmes. But Joel's right. Holmes was terrible on the weekend. He fucked our multi. Anyway, moving
But
on.
if Gags doesn't get picked for game 1 and there's an injury, his first cab off the rank. Like he'll
Yeah.
find
Game
himself in an
3.
Origin jersey this series. He always does.
We need him for game 3. Okay, please.
yeah,
Thanks.
give him a swan song game 3, and they've clean sweeping the series. But we'll
Yeah,
get
when the
back
Knights
on
play
some
Power.
Origin stuff. Yeah, probably. There's an announcement coming for that game as well, guys. We have teased it earlier, but there is, I believe, some stuff happening behind the scenes about some catch-ups there. So keen for that. But on the Origin front, we'll probably do a special podcast. I'll get a few of the boys together who are free after the Origin sides are selected. We'll probably do it live. I think we did one live last year and actually went off. It was a really good one. Everyone was keen to talk about some stuff. So we'll do an Origin special and just give you a bit more content around this time of year. Everyone obviously loves to talk Origin. Come on, Miko.
Can we do it after the full-time game 1 when we're all about 70, 1,100 beers deep?
Yes.
We might do something about that as well. We'll have
I'm
a chat
normally
in
asleep.
the chat and we'll sort some stuff out and then I'll let everyone know what we're doing. So
I love post-Origin games. I love watching the post-game and drinking another beer, and it's great.
we might do
live
something. We might do
reaction.
something and try it out. See what? Yeah, we might try something, but we'll definitely do something about the lineup. So even if it's just a quick half an hour show, just to discuss all the changes, etc. But last thing on the NRL front, back to that, the Cronulla Sharks. I want to first of all just say a big shout out to the club itself. And Adam was there with me. We were watching not just of how they performed on the weekend, which was clearly that they've done it 2 weeks in a row. They've really performed, and when a lot of people have doubted them being able to do so, the club is so on the right path at the moment, and all together as one. It's seriously impressive. We got to see it at the end of the game. They did that huddle right in front of the supporter bay, where they've obviously talked about continuing the momentum, making sure this isn't a flash in the pan. They get the job done. They continue to do so. They were one of the only teams that I saw actually went and
Yeah, they
not
were the
just
only.
clapped to their fans. Yeah, probably the only club that actually went to their fans and not just clapped on like near the goalpost and just said a quick thank you and quickly ran up this tunnel. They actually spent some time with their fan group, said thank you. That was so good to see that. And then you obviously see you get in the tunnel after in the sheds. They do the team song. Everyone's doing it. So impressed with what they're doing.
Can we highlight they're a club on the up? No, but I just want to one thing you said there
Your
is I
mother.
don't want to bag out the other teams, but they were told to get off the field essentially after the games because the next game was starting. Cronulla ignored that. They showed their priority was their fans and not listening to the NRL. It's like when they used the steroids in 2016, they didn't care about the NRL. But what they did was they went across their fans no matter what they were told and had a great time celebrating with them, singing the song with them and stuff. And it was good to watch. So yeah, massive respect there. And then just to turn their back and do what they wanted.
And I don't want to get off task, but just quickly, if that is the NRL saying that to the clubs, which they clearly were because they couldn't run up the tunnel quick enough, Magic Ground is known for its seated to be for the fans. Everyone's mingling, everyone's in great spirits. All the past players are out and about doing gigs, and me and Adam had a quick chat to Heidi, Fletch, etc. They're all keen to talk. Let the players actually go around and see some fans and get some quick photos and stuff, even if it's while the next game's playing. There's all that barricading up now. You can't get hurt by it. What's it going to hurt him if they're out there for half an hour, quickly signing some autographs, taking some photos, showing what Magic Ground is about, which I believe it should be all about the fans and the magic that we talk about on the field as well. Let the fans do that. But quickly on the Sharks, guys, have they earned your respect yet? Do you genuinely believe that the Sharkies are contenders this year? Jez, I'll go to you.
Before I answer, I have a little answer for why the NRL might want the other teams to get off the field. It's for TV rights. No one wants to be seeing the other teams in the backgrounds of shots when their team is playing. So that would be probably one of the reasons why, is to get them off because the next spectacle is on. Cronulla. Well, they just keep proving us wrong. So they can just keep winning games and keep flying under the radar. Have they earned my respect? Yeah, probably a little bit. But their home ground's still shit. And that annoys me. Nico Hines is still incredibly good looking, and that annoys me, especially when his hair's wet. But as a rugby league team, I think they've gone away from, remember how their forwards used to be just exactly the same person? So every time, no matter who came in or what kind of play it was, their forwards just did the same thing, and it was really boring to watch. So I think they've kind of redefined the way that they play their league, and it is pretty entertaining. So yeah, I guess they've earned a bit of respect.
Surely Michael's on the Hazleton bandwagon. Like, he loves the big soup in Mark Nichols. Surely you love Hazleton.
That was my next point.
He's no tin of soup, though.
Oh, he's might be one of those little baby tin of soups developing.
Yeah.
Nico, Sharkies earned your respect.
They have a bit. I've been one of their biggest criticisers. Is that the right word? Maybe because I've got a couple of Shark supporter mates too, but I just... Critics, yeah. I've criticised them a lot.
You're going off tonight.
Yeah. I've always been concerned, like the last few years, their draws always sort of got them to where they got, but I feel like this year that they've earned it a lot themselves. I feel like they've learnt to grind out a game a bit more, whereas previous years they've been all about attack and they just tried to out-attack their opposition that week. But when that comes to the top teams, they could never grind with them, the teams that could defend well. So I think they've turned a corner there. I think, obviously, the finals is where we're going to see where they're at. If they get bounced out in week 2 again, then it's going to be very reminiscent of the Parramatta teams between 19 and 21, where they looked good through the season and then got trounced out every finals week 2.
Well, some of them are week 1.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But I agree, Michael. They look cool, calm, collected in all games that I've watched of the Sharks.
Yeah,
they don't seem to panic, even if they're behind on the scoreboard.
Yeah. They've learnt that grind a lot more, I think. And I hats off to, like you said, about their forwards. I think that's a really, really good point. It's like their coach learnt to evolve with the game. Maybe
I like I said, who would have thought it was a good move?
Maybe some other coaches could take a leaf out of that book and they would still be coaches.
Leave Brad alone. Leave Brad alone.
I love Brad. I'm still a Brad fan. He'll get a job somewhere like that. He'll be back.
Yeah, look, they've obviously been touched on the dick, as I said, with the draw again. But the thing is, I said before they played Melbourne, if they win their next 2 games against Melbourne and the Roosters, that could be the real deal. And that game, like, you know, they could turn it. That Melbourne game wasn't great quality, but the game against the Roosters was the game of the year so far. So for them to come away with a win in that game, it's how I felt watching it live. It was entertaining and a great, like, neutral game. I saw Jeremy's comment and I'm gone. But, you know, yeah, I think they are the real deal because last year, although they had the easy games, they couldn't beat those top 8 teams because they weren't turning up for the tough matches. And if they can turn up for the tough matches throughout the year, you'd think they'd be able to do it when it comes to the finals. Like, they're going to finish top 4. There's a fair chance they're going to finish top 2, to be honest, now. So when you think of it that way, they've only got to win that first week game and they're 1 game away from a grand final.
I think
all Nico has to do after the grand final when they win, like Thurston, go, we deserve a new stadium.
Yeah,
and they'll get one.
They'll get one.
But they also, when you think about it, they've only got to turn up for 1 game in finals. They finish in the top 2, right? So to get themselves up for 1 game is so much easier, and they've gone better than the last however many years it's been. So you know, if they go out in a prelim final, I know it seems stupid. We're Parramatta fans and we're looking, you know, mediocrity all over. If they go 1 better than week 2, it's an improvement. They make it to week 3.
That's the way we were looking at it. We're like, oh, we got to week 1. Oh, we got to week 2. Oh, we finally got to a prelim. Like,
Oh, we got
Yeah,
to
it is a
week
bit like
4.
that.
Oh, we missed the finals.
I think something I've noticed with the Sharks the last few years is their attack takes a lot of effort. There's a lot of decoy runners. They go side to like they don't have any building plays. They attack. And I always thought, like I said before, against the lower teams that works because they couldn't defend it, and it took a lot of energy for them, which means they couldn't then compete in the games where the top teams could defend all their attack, and then they'd get the ball, and then they wouldn't be able to defend them in return. Whereas I think this year they've kind of calmed their attack a bit, which is giving their defense a lot more energy to stay in the grind and turn away teams, whereas previously they couldn't. That's my take on it.
They play Penrith this week as well, so I know it's
Yeah.
Penrith out Luai, but if they can beat Melbourne, Cronulla, Penrith, then the week after they've got the powerhouse of Parramatta at Parramatta. Like we'll be saying how good of a team they are if they win all 4 of those games.
That'll be
Without
Parramatta.
Nico,
When you look Parramatta without Sevo and Lane, hopefully.
With Moses back and with no Nico, and I don't know who else plays Origin in the Cronulla team. Is there anyone else? They're talking about McInnes
McInnes might.
potentially. Yeah, so
Hazelton's
really
a smoky on the bench, apparently.
yeah. I think there's
But
really
I agree, boys. I feel like there's just a different era around the Sharkies this year. There's just something about them, especially the last few.
Are
weeks.
they on to something special?
They're on
Just say it, please.
something special.
Wow.
And that's when it all went downhill for Cronulla, ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen. Right there. They'll lose
Anyway,
their next
guys, you
5
know
in
what
a row.
time it is. Get your questions in quickly for a couple of minutes. We like the non-footy related questions the best, but if you do have some footy questions, fire them in. I'll just check if I did. Quick one by Paul here. Where do we all think Isaiah Papali'i will go to next year? Who's going? Adam, go.
All right. All I know is that he wants to return to Parramatta. When he left Parramatta, he was on 250,000. He signed for the Tigers on 750,000. He hasn't earned that money at the Tigers. Parramatta have no interest in giving him that kind of money. If he wants to return to Parramatta, they offered him 450,000 to stay before, and he rejected it. I believe they end up getting up to about 550. It'll be somewhere between that 450 and 550 because Parramatta need to focus on the juniors coming through. His partner plays for the New South Wales Swifts. She moved over from New Zealand to play for the Swifts, so he won't want to leave Sydney. You would think, being eyes and getting that release, he has an option to go somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with somewhere like St. George or something, to be honest. They've got some money to spend. Even the Roosters have got some cash to spend as well for next year. So, they might be going to lose. They're probably going to lose Crichton. So, if I'm Parramatta, I'm taking Crichton over Ice. Sorry.
Yeah. I agree. I think Penrith are a bit of smokies in this as well. I think they will obviously having to play at David Fafita. Isaiah Papali'i might be a play for them. I would like him back at Parramatta. I'll say that. But I don't want to pay overs for him either. I think we've got enough to get by. But I would, if it means shipping on someone like Lane, then definitely please do it. Nico, you got someone?
I missed that. My printer was doing weird shit.
No, you're right.
Sorry.
Move on from you,
Roosters.
Yeah, I think the Roosters. We've got a Sharks versus Penrith, definitely a game of the round. Yeah, easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily, I think so. This one, favorite alcoholic beverage on a cold night.
night.
Jez.
Alcoholic beverage on a
I'll
cold night.
start
We're not
with
all
you.
piss heads, Chris.
Yeah, I wouldn't go for something. I would go, nah, I'm done. I'm going down to get a hot chockey.
Nah, red wine chockey time under a blanket and a book.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
is that
a
Zoo
red-
Weekly,
a red
or
wine.
you've got a couple of Zoo Mag?
Well, I'm currently writing reports. So the red
fun.
wine and chockies have got a bit of a nudge lately. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Writing reports.
Yeah,
Pirate rum.
yeah, pretty much.
Nika,
Pirate
you're the
rum.
alcoholic of the
Sa-
group.
Sailor Jerry's.
Ooh, all right. Adam, you got
Warm
something?
you up.
I don't drink at home, except for last week when I did
Yeah.
that thing, and I think I drank enough for the weekend that the next drink I probably have will be when we're in the box.
Magic Round. Magic Round 2025 is the next probably drink for me. Just quickly look at who do we see. I got nothing. I won't drink alcohol. Pretty much like Adam. Who has been affected by injuries more, New South Wales or Queensland? New South Wales.
Fucking
for
dumb
sure at the
question,
moment.
Andrew. What a dumb question.
What is
Yeah.
that?
New South Wales. His other one's all right, but
I like his other one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Adam, please take this.
Well, there's other places to do
Somewhere.
it besides the bed, Andrew. You can do it. In the
I was
bed.
going to say the same thing.
You beat me to it.
But you can even do it on the kitchen bench. You can even do it right here. But and
Matter
by
of
that,
fact,
of course, I'm
I'm doing it now.
get out from there.
Go to the footy. I like to take the fam, take the missus to the footy.
Sammy, get out from under the desk. That's his dog, by the way.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, like obviously taking a young girl to the footy and just generally sport and stuff around that. So I mean, and of
we've
course,
got to finish up.
taking all my family to no quarter gigs, of course, is what I love to do.
Yeah, yes. Mickey, do you have something quickly for us? I know you're a big family man.
Me and Kira, when we begin courting, travelled up and down the East Coast, going to a lot of punk rock gigs together. I still love doing that with her today. And then,
Oh,
I didn't know what you were going to do up and I didn't want to know what you were going to do up and down the East Coast. And I'm glad you said punk rock gigs. Jesus Christ!
yeah, I didn't know where that was going.
Yeah.
Picnics for me. Picnics, we love it. We live by the lake, so we bust out the picnic rug, and we're always down by the water having some food.
Love it. Last one. As a Magic Round virgin, what's the biggest thing I need to prepare for? This could be for a few people. So
Adam did
Look,
a whole
this is
segment
the
on this
first-
last week.
yeah, but
And I can do
it's fresh in our minds. It's fresh in our minds now. I did my first 3-dayer on the weekend, and majority of it wasn't like drinking crazy either. Like it was pretty.
We're constantly
tame,
drinking,
but
but
it
not
still
crazy.
takes it
Yeah.
out of it. Yeah, not
It's-
crazy.
Like we never had hangovers. We probably had sugar headaches because we're just pumping sugar into us for 3 days. But like,
Keep
it's
eating.
just-
I'll say that.
yeah, sitting there for 8 games of football or 7 in my case, you are physically rooted by the end of the day. And then, on Friday night, I got dragged to a strip club and I was just like, this is terrible. Why am I here? And then on Saturday night, I went to bed at 10 o'clock. And then on Sunday, went to the Caxton, the casino. Like, it's a big time. So my advice would be to prepare the week before with your sleep.
Yes.
Because when you go to bed on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, footy is still playing through your mind. Like you're still thinking about stuff footy related. You're still thinking about your failed multis. You're still thinking about who shouted is and stuff like that. You can't get to sleep because it's just on your mind so much.
That's good. And you know what? You'll get called a dog by your mates, but just take one of those days out of the 3 and just have an early-ish night. Just get to bed at a decent hour. You will love yourself for the next day of doing it. Just sneak off at one of those days. You get bagged for it, but you'll have the last laugh the next day. That's it, guys. This Magic Round talk, you know what? Even though it's still hurting a little bit, I can't wait for the next one. Bring it on. But thank you for listening. We'll let you know about the Origin specials coming up next week or so. Believe it or not, I've got to go because I've got one more podcast to film a Supercoach one, the Tradie Show. So goodbye, guys. Good night, and thank you for listening.
see ya.